applauded the world over. In How the West Was Won, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and Cinerama have brought together the biggest and most distinguished all-star cast in entertainment history, characterizing the men and women who conquered the wilderness, finding a new life in this immense human saga of the American West. James Stewart is the mountain man. Henry Fonda is the plainsman. Adventurers such as these first explored the land. Then came the settlers who traveled the waterways, like the Prescott family, Carl Malden and Agnes Moorehead, and their daughters, Carol Baker and Debbie Reynolds, who left the frontier for a gayer life. There were the good and the bad, river pirates like Walter Brennan, notorious desperados like Charlie Gant, portrayed by Eli Wallach, and Lee J. Cobb as the dauntless U.S. Marshal who tracked him down. There were the gamblers and the entertainers. Gregory Peck is Cleve Van Valen, lucky in cards and in love. There was Robert Preston as the wagon master who loved in vain. And Thelma Ritter, a friend in need. Here, too, were the North, Andy Devine, and the South, Russ Tamblyn, and the famous of history, John Wayne as General William Tecumseh Sherman, Henry Morgan as General Ulysses S. Grant, and Raymond Massey as Abraham Lincoln. George Peppard is Zeb Rawlings, who brought the law to the West. And Carolyn Jones portrays Julie Rawlings, whose courage matched that of her fighting husband. And there were the men who brought the railroad, like Mike King, portrayed by Richard Widmark. How the West Was Won startles your eyes with a huge and colorful panorama of the glorious frontier, with all its reckless adventure and its awesome violence. With its spirited romance, its lusty Old West fun, and its breathtaking action spectacle, the most fabulous film ever conceived from any standpoint.
How the West Was Won, an epic Western saga featuring an ensemble cast. This Cinerama spectacle stands as a monument to Hollywood's fascination with the American frontier. More than just a simple Western, it's a sprawling, multi-generational saga portraying the westward expansion across the United States through the eyes of a single family. Starring a constellation of Hollywood's brightest, including James Stewart, Gregory Peck, Henry Fonda, and Debbie Reynolds, the film aimed to capture the grandeur and grit of the era, solidifying its place as a classic of the genre and a defining example of epic filmmaking. Directed by three separate directors, John Ford, Henry Hathaway, and George Marshall, and employing the innovative three-camera Cinerama process, How the West Was Won offers a unique visual and narrative experience. While often celebrated for its scope and technical achievements, the film also invites closer scrutiny. It presents a romanticized, albeit at times brutal, vision of the West, raising questions about its historical accuracy, its portrayal of Native Americans, and its contribution to the enduring myth of American exceptionalism. The film's narrative backbone is the Prescott family, whose journey from the verdant landscapes of New York to the rugged plains of the West serves as a microcosm of the nation's westward movement. The film is divided into 5 distinct segments, each focusing on a different generation and a specific aspect of the frontier experience: the rivers, the plains, the Civil War, the railroad, and the Outlaws. The Rivers, a journey of loss and determination. The first segment, directed by John Ford, introduces the Prescott family in the 1830s. Zebulon, Carl Malden, and Rebecca, Agnes Moorehead, are determined to carve out a new life in the West, leading their daughters Eve, Carol Baker, and Lilith, Debbie Reynolds, down the Ohio River. This section emphasizes the hardships and dangers faced by early settlers. The pristine wilderness, beautifully captured by the Cinerama process, is juxtaposed with the constant threat of natural disasters and encounters with unscrupulous river pirates. The loss of Zebulon and Rebecca to the rapids underscores the unforgiving nature of the frontier and the sacrifices required to tame it. Eve chooses to stay and marry mountain man Lionus Rawlings, James Stewart, while Lilith opts for a different path, seeking fortune in the bustling city of St. Louis. Stewart's Lionus Rawlings embodies the rugged individualism often associated with the Western hero. He is a man of the wilderness, comfortable with solitude and survival, yet capable of great kindness and loyalty. His relationship with Eve, though somewhat briefly explored, represents the merging of different perspectives: the settler's desire for stability and the frontiersman's appreciation for freedom and adventure. This segment establishes the film's central theme: the enduring power of family and the drive to build a better future despite adversity. The plains manifest destiny and the price of expansion. Henry Hathaway directs the second segment, set in the 1850s and focusing on Lilith's experiences as a saloon performer in a burgeoning Western town. This section broadens the scope of the narrative, introducing the complexities of westward expansion beyond the immediate struggles of individual families. Lilith's encounter with the charismatic gambler Cleve Van Vallen, Gregory Peck, leads her on a journey to the plains, where she witnesses the devastating impact of westward expansion on Native American tribes. This segment is notable for its depiction of Native Americans, although it falls short of providing a nuanced perspective. While the film acknowledges the injustice of their displacement and the broken treaties, the portrayal remains largely sympathetic yet stereotypical. The Cheyenne are depicted as a violent threat to the settlers, justifying the military's intervention. This reinforces the prevalent narrative of manifest destiny, the belief that American expansion across the North American continent was both justified and inevitable. While recognizing the human cost, the film ultimately frames the displacement of Native Americans as a necessary sacrifice for the progress of civilization. The Civil War, brother against brother. The third segment, also directed by John Ford, takes a detour from the westward expansion narrative to explore the impact of the Civil War. Lionus Rawlings joins the Union Army, highlighting the divisions within the nation and the moral complexities of the conflict. This segment is arguably the least visually stunning, relying more on dialogue and character development. It underscores the personal toll of war, showing the devastating impact on families and the loss of innocence. The death of Lionus in battle leaves Eve a widow, further emphasizing the sacrifices made in the name of progress. The railroad, connecting the nation. Henry Hathaway returns to direct The Railroad, which marks a significant turning point in the narrative. The construction of the Transcontinental Railroad becomes a symbol of national unity and progress, connecting the East and West coasts and opening up new opportunities for settlement and economic growth. Eve's son, Zeb, George Peppard, follows in his father's footsteps, working as a scout and fighting against corrupt railroad officials who exploit the land and its inhabitants. This segment highlights the darker side of progress, showcasing the unethical practices and the displacement of Native Americans that accompanied the railroad's construction. Zeb's struggle against the railroad barons reflects a growing awareness of social injustice and the need to protect the vulnerable from exploitation. His romance with a dance hall girl, Julie, Debbie Reynolds, reprising her role as Lilith's daughter, provides a glimmer of hope amidst the corruption and violence. The Outlaws, Taming the Wild West. George Marshall directs the final segment, The Outlaws, which brings the Prescott saga to a dramatic conclusion. Zeb, now a marshal, faces off against a notorious outlaw gang led by Charlie Gant, Eli Wallach, in a thrilling gunfight that symbolizes the taming of the Wild West. This segment showcases the evolution of the frontier from a lawless territory to a more structured and regulated society. The final scene, featuring the Prescott family reunited in a thriving Western town, reinforces the film's message of perseverance, family unity, and the ultimate triumph of civilization. Technical innovation and lasting legacy. How the West Was Won is notable not only for its epic narrative and star-studded cast, but also for its innovative use of the Cinerama process. The three-camera system created a panoramic image that immersed the audience in the vast landscapes of the West. The effect was truly breathtaking, offering a visual spectacle that few films had achieved before. While Cinerama fell out of favor due to its complexity and cost, How the West Was Won remains a testament to its potential and a defining example of widescreen filmmaking. However, the film's legacy is not without its criticisms. Its romanticized portrayal of the West often glosses over the harsh realities of frontier life and the devastating impact of westward expansion on Native American communities. The film's representation of Native Americans, while generally sympathetic, still reinforces stereotypical images and perpetuates the narrative of manifest destiny. Despite these shortcomings, How the West Was Won remains a significant cultural artifact. It reflects the prevailing attitudes and beliefs of its time, offering a glimpse into the American psyche and its enduring fascination with the frontier. The film's epic scope, star power, and technical innovation made it a box office success and a lasting influence on the Western genre. Conclusion: How the West Was Won is a cinematic achievement that deserves recognition for its ambition, technical innovation, and star power. While it presents a romanticized and at times problematic vision of the American West, it also offers a compelling narrative about family, perseverance, and the challenges of building a nation. By examining its strengths and weaknesses, we can gain a deeper understanding of the enduring myth of the West and its complex legacy in American culture. The film serves as a reminder to appreciate the grandeur and beauty of the landscape, even as we acknowledge the human cost of its conquest and the importance of a more nuanced and inclusive understanding of our history. It encourages us to question the narratives we are told and to strive for a more just and equitable future, one where all voices are heard and all stories are valued. The epic journey of the Prescott family reminds us that the story of the West is not just about conquest and progress, but also about resilience, sacrifice, and the enduring power of the human spirit.